to Season 2 of the Chile Today podcast. I'm Bethany Francis. I'm abroad, living abroad, broadcasting from Santiago, Chile. I explore Chilean news, cultural topics, travel, business, and more with my special guests and our producer, Podcast Pinguino. To read more about the news topics you'll hear today, check out our news affiliate, chiletoday.cl. If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. If you're feeling generous, rate and review. If you'd like to hear about a certain topic, have a story to share, or would like to ask a question, contact me directly through Instagram at Chile Today Podcast. Hey everybody, it's Bethany. I am back, apparently, according to Pinguino. I was fishing last time you guys were listening to me, which is not that far from the truth because I am from Arkansas and I was on a farm. So I wasn't fishing on the farm, but there were definitely cows and trees and there were dead fish on the wall. So that's not that, it's not that different. But so today is really special because we have one of my best friends in the whole world coming on the podcast today. Her name's Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
And she's going to help us with the podcast today. So, Mary, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I have not prepared this at all. So, my name is Mary Hoover. I am a translator at an international law firm. I am originally from small town USA, the Appalachian regions, to be more specific. But I have been in Chile, Santiago, about 12 years.
Wow.
And I'm probably your biggest fan.
Oh my goodness. And you know what? I'm just going to say you're my biggest fan or our biggest fan because you like the podcast, not because you're my best friend.
Well,
but
maybe a little bit of both.
She has listened to all the episodes, which is more than I could say about my boyfriend. So,
Ooh.
Yeah, he hasn't listened to all of them. So, everybody, if you see him, I know, if you see him on the street, shake a finger at him.
Next time I see him, I will shake all of my fingers.
Shake all of them and be like jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands, finger shaking at my boyfriend. He'll be real confused.
Totally.
He'll be super confused.
What is happening right now?
Yeah. So before we get to the news, I want to announce some upcoming events. If you listeners were able to go to some of our previous events, I hope you enjoyed them. There's some really fun pictures. Last month, or actually this current month, but it already passed, there was a horrible movie night where they watched Rubber, and Pinguino was there, so if you got to meet him, he had a really good time. It was amazing. I think it was super funny. I was not there because I was apparently fishing. But we have another horrible movie night coming up on the 11th. Thank you, Pinguino. The 11th of November, and we're going to be watching Sharknado. It's a really...
I've heard of that. I don't think I've seen it, but I've heard of it.
It's a tornado with sharks in it.
Yep, I definitely remember some sort of poster with tornadoes and sharks.
Yeah.
Yep.
So again, it's Horrible Movie Night because it's a horrible movie, and we just laugh and meet new people, have a good time.
And what was the date?
It's on November 11th.
Okay.
And I think that's a Thursday at the Black Rock Pub. We'll give you more information. We'll post about it on our Instagram. Yeah, thank you, Mary. You're so smart. And on our Instagram. And we also have the Chistolas Comedy Group has their anniversary show, which is also a Halloween party on October 30th, and that's also at the Black Rock Pub. The Black
Almost Halloween.
Almost Halloween. It's a costume party. There's going to be bilingual comedy. Whether you speak English or Spanish, you're going to have a great time. Drink, meet the Chistolas. I'm going to be there telling jokes. Pinguina's going to be there telling jokes.
I'll be there. I
Mary's
will not be
gonna
telling jokes.
Not telling jokes, but hanging out. So if you guys want to meet us, just have a good time, dress up, drink. You don't have to meet us if you don't want to meet us. You just want to hang out and have a good time at a costume party. That is on October 30th, which is a Saturday. And then on November 27th, there is going to be a bilingual trivia night at the Black Rock Pub. And it's really fun. They do rounds in English and Spanish. And you can get a team of 3 people. to answer trivia questions, and each round has prizes. It's super fun. So those are some events coming up.
What was the date for that again?
That one's November 27th.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know I put all of those dates out of order, but we'll post more about them on our Instagram and tag That You Stole Us, the Black Rock Pub, all of that stuff. If you guys know of events going on in Santiago or in Chile in general, then you want us to advertise for them, contact us on our Instagram at Chile Today Podcast or email us chiletodaypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know. We'll put them on the podcast. Okay, so for the first news that we have for today is we're going to talk about the second television debate because the presidential elections are coming up.
Dun dun dun.
I mean, really, it's getting real tense here. So, the second debate apparently was super, like, a little intense. So, Gabriel Boric from the Frente Amplio, or Broad Front, as they translate it in English, has been...
Broad
it makes
front,
me think
okay.
of boobies, like the Broad Front.
There's
The
got to be a
Frente
better
Amplio.
translation than that.
The Frente Amplio.
As a translator, there has to be a better translation for that.
What would you say? Frente Amplio. As
Frente
a
Amplio. Well, I think it would depend on what kind of frente we were talking about.
But it means, like, the front line, right?
And maybe they should use front line
it's
in
like
the translation.
the broad front line. It's like something like that, right? That's sort of what they're going for.
Okay, then that should definitely be changed.
Yeah, it should be something like the strong front line or something.
Yeah.
Because the meaning is more important than the actual
Literal
translation, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so anyway, Boric has been one of the focuses of the debates lately because he's currently leading in the polls, though there's debates about how credible the polls are, so we really don't know everything about that. But he is a left-wing candidate running in a pact with the Communist Party. But the electoral race is getting really interesting in the center and on the right. So, center-left candidate Jasna Provoste from the Christian Democrats is gaining traction, while center-right Sebastian Sichel is being overtaken by far-right Jose Antonio Cast.
Oh, I saw something about Sichel today. What
So
did I
many
see
things.
about him in the news
What
today?
happened to him today?
I don't remember.
Pinguino, fill us in. Okay, so basically, going back to Sichel, everybody's like, Sichel's really, he's fallen from grace so much because so much stuff has come out against him on the debate. People accused him of taking money.
His father came out of the woodworks there for a little bit.
Oh, goodness. But he
biological father.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His biological father. And there was all of this debate about how Sichel was saying, like, what was it? Like, his father, was super abusive or something. And his father was like, no, I wasn't. It's so weird. A lot of weird things going on.
Not looking good for him these days.
No. And Sichel said he wasn't taking illegal money, but he was taking illegal money anyway. So Jose Antonio Cast is overtaking him, and he is extreme right-wing. So, he's extreme right-wing. So the election is on November 21st. For those of you who can vote, you should vote. So apart from Boric, Sichel, Cast, and Provoste, there is Eduardo Artes. And I laugh because I've actually met Artes, and he's a sweetheart, but he's extreme far left.
Okay.
He actually believes like North Korea is like the ideal state.
Okay.
Which, to be fair, I've never been to North Korea.
Not many people have, to be fair.
I don't know if he's been to North Korea.
Probably not.
It's so mysterious. So maybe it is. I don't think so. But I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying, like,
Field trip?
Anyone want to go to North Korea?
Let's go.
Pinguino. Anyway, so in there's also Marco Enriquez Ominami.
Oh, he was around many years back. When I first arrived in Chile, he was a presidential candidate for a bit. Yeah.
Where we go? But Enriquez, Ominami, and Artes, they're not...
Male.
What?
Male. That's what people call male.
Male.
That's new.
No, it's always been on you.
Really?
Okay, well, can I do the news?
Sorry.
Okay.
You gave me power last time to talk,
Enrique,
so now...
Not that much talking. You're too chattery.
Chattery?
Chattery.
You've been in Arkansas too long.
You can talk. I just don't know when you talk, I'm not sure if it's going to make it into the podcast or not. I don't know.
I'm definitely going to leave this part in the
Oh my
podcast.
god. Okay. So, Artes and Ominami are not going to win, right? They're super left. They're not really in the race. Actually, Artes is the ex-father-in-law of one of my really good friends, or one of my former really good friends before he left, Matt. You know Matt?
Oh, yes.
His ex-father-in-law is Artes.
Oh.
This is such a small country, I swear.
Santiago, I feel. And for expats in general. I feel like expats get kind of thrown into the same circles.
Of far left candidates? We get thrown into far left candidate circles?
I don't get thrown into any of the candidate circles, but...
I mean, like I said, I know I've met Boric.
I know a lot of people who have been in a lot of candidate circles. Okay.
Well, you also work with lawyers, so that's, again, I also have a lot of friends.
But I don't have any contacts through them, though. Anyways, yes.
So, Sichel.
We digress.
Sichel, one of the main right candidates, which is being overtaken. He was the favorite of Piñera, but he's turned into a liability because he has been shown to be taking money. And there was a memorable moment during the debate when he was facing off with Provoste, who is sassy as fuck.
Love sassy women.
She is so sassy. I don't know if I would vote for her, but she is so sassy, and I'm here for it. She's like, but what about this thing?
Good for her.
She's so sassy. So Sichel was often criticized for his close ties with business elites, and he was confronted with his past as a gas lobbyist. He became very evasive, which gave Provoste a level of confidence that she hadn't shown. Unable to counter Provoste, Sichel resorted to ad hominem attacks, which, however, weakened his policy profile and also made him look dumb.
Yeah.
That, in turn, benefited his biggest rival on the right, Jose Cast, which is, you know. So he proposed, so Cast, listen to this. I think you know about this. Cast has proposed digging $1 million ditch, a reverse wall, on the Chilean border to halt immigration. A reverse wall.
Has that been done anywhere in the world? Ditch?
I just think people just need to calm down. Oh my gosh. I just don't understand. Like, okay, so if you didn't know anything about Jose Antonio Cast, all you need to know is that he wants to
dig a ditch.
He wants to dig a ditch
to prevent immigrants.
To prevent immigration. And
not a wall, a ditch.
A reverse wall.
A reverse wall.
A reverse wall.
AKA a ditch.
Yes. So, and he said, he made comments that it was very economical to build this $1 million ditch.
No. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
Millions of dollars and economical should not be in the same sentence.
No. And he wants to leave the UN Human Rights Council.
Okay.
So that's all you need to know about Cast. So, but Cast has positioned himself as Boric's biggest rival now. So we now have Boric and we now have Cast going on. Yeah. So Cast really went after Boric, and he's really a very articulate candidate. He's not a dumb Cast. He's
the one who said, "Let's build a ditch."
Okay, just to clarify. I didn't say his policies were good, but he is a very good debater.
Okay.
He's a master debater, if you will.
Okay.
And other candidates were kind of struggling to challenge him, but he did fail to respond when Boric pulled out a contract signed by Cast with a Panama-based notary showing how the self-proclaimed patriot, Cast, hid millions of dollars from the country.
I mean, to be fair, most Chileans who have any sort of wealth
not an excuse.
The exact same. No, agreed. I totally agree. Not an excuse. But they all do it. I am not surprised, even a little bit.
But
did anybody actually think that he did not?
Well, here's the thing. Like, at this point, just be honest. You know what I mean? Like, shit's gonna come out. The internet's a thing. Like, people just need to be like, you know what? I hid some shit, but right now we're not talking about that.
Well, I mean,
it looks way worse.
Fair, yes. But also, if you say, I hid some shit, but let's not talk about it, people are gonna be like, how about we talk about it for a minute?
I mean,
it's probably easier for him to be like, we're just going to pretend that didn't happen. Hopefully nobody brings it up.
Boric
Thank you, Boric, for bringing it up.
Yeah, Boric called him out on it. So, Boric and Provoste are, of course, competing against each other, but their exchanges on Monday night were actually pretty amicable. Boric asked Provoste about her program while underlining the similarities between the two programs and trying to show that the center-left Chileans, how he's a little bit different. He kept highlighting agreements of disagreement, like, oh, we'll agree to disagree kind of situation. They're very much kind of in support of each other, even though they're very different candidates, because Boric is much more left than Provoste, but I think that...
So she's more center, he's more left.
Yes, but
okay.
I think in both cases they're like, please don't vote for Cast.
If you're one
reverse wall, a ditch. Can't you just build a bridge? Okay, sorry. In other news, so the government is declaring a state of emergency amid a truckers' strike protest. So Piñera declared a state of emergency for the Mayeco in the Cautín province of the La Araucanía and Arauco regions. This measure is going to remain in place for 15 days and comes after a week-long protest by truck drivers against some attacks, which they claim the state does nothing to prevent. So we've talked on the podcast before about how the truck drivers and their union have a lot of power, and they strike often. Under the state of emergency, the government claims extensive powers to reestablish public security, including ramping up police presence. The measure could be extended for another 15 days if the situation doesn't improve. The drivers have blocked major highways, demanding authorities to put measure in place to prevent the attacks. Truckers reported arson attacks and having been shot at. So one reason why truckers have for a very long time had so much power is because of the shape of Chile, the geography of Chile.
North-south.
We're just a little tiny noodle. It's really easy for truckers to strike and collapse different industries without getting the supplies. So these truckers have a lot of power. So
I have a few questions. Can I interrupt, or should
I might
wait?
not have the answer, so you can interrupt.
Okay, so my questions are: one, why are they being shot at, and what you said they were being shot at, and what was the other?
Arson.
And arson. Why are they being shot at, and why is there arson?
Great question. So the truckers claim that it's the angry Mapuche people doing it.
Okay.
And there might be some truth to that because, again, this is the Araucanía region. And so a lot of the industries that the truckers provide materials to are the ones that are on native people's land.
Okay.
And so I think that is a very easy target for protests for indigenous people.
Okay. And what exactly do they want the government to do about this?
They want the government to stop the indigenous people from targeting the trucks. Okay.
They don't have concrete ways to do that. They just want it to be done.
I have a feeling that they want there to be more violent action against the indigenous people to prevent them from doing that. But
Unclear.
Okay,
but they want the arson and the shooting to stop.
Yes, but it's a very...
To be fair, I also, if I were a truck driver, would want that to stop.
But it is a very political and contingent kind of situation because you do have the indigenous people whose rights are constantly being trampled on by these industries.
Yeah.
The truck drivers very much know this. Like, again, truck driving history is huge in Chile. If you're a truck driver, you sort of, like... it's sort of like being a police officer in Chile.
You know where you're getting into.
You sort of know what your political position is when you're getting into that. Hashtag not all truck drivers, obviously.
Yes,
but
of course.
It's a very...
For some people, it's just a job.
Right. People gotta work.
Yeah.
But it's a very controversial...
It's a political position.
Yes, because it does have so much power in Chile. You can collapse Chile if all the... Which has happened before. During the Inde government, if the truck drivers refuse to do their jobs, so many of the industries in Chile collapse.
Yeah.
And then
Gotta
they can
move
blame it on indigenous people, and it's just a mess. So it's very political. Hey, guys, listening to me, I don't know if I've said this enough times on this podcast. I'm not a professional political person. I make a podcast.
Me neither.
If you want professional
just
political
got lots of
opinions, then you should go to ChileToday.cl, which is our news affiliate, which has real smart people. I'm just the sexy voice. What? What was that?
That was the sexy voice.
So if you know a lot about this, I would love to hear from you. Message us at Chile Today Podcast on Instagram or email us chiletodaypodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. If you're an Indigenous person, I want to hear your perspective. Are you a truck driver? I want to hear your perspective too. Give me all the things.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm not an expert. I'm just saying what I know, which might not be all of it. Anyway, so Route 160 is the route that's been most affected by the blockades this week. Route 5 South is also a major linkage area which has been subject to disruptions. Similar blockades have become common in the recent years, as I mentioned before. A convoy even drove to the government palace at La Moneda to deliver demands to President Bachelet back when she was president. Governor Luciano Rivas told the news outlet Cooperativa that more control is needed. Quote, "What we do not want in La Araucanía are more deaths nor violence, and we hope to have peace in the region where all can prosper and that free movement will be a constant and not a privilege for some." And a lot of people are worried about this state of emergency because with the police presence, with the high presence of Indigenous people, and already knowing that there have been a lot of human rights violations against Indigenous people in the Araucanía region, it just seems like a lot of people are looking at this as maybe an excuse to execute more violence towards these people right before an election, right? So we'll see what happens. Hopefully in 15 days things will settle down, right?
Fingers crossed.
Yep. So more corruption. The Pandora Papers. Lots happened. The Pandora Papers, a criminal investigation into Piñera's offshore dealings, has been announced. Have you heard about the Pandora Papers?
Some information, yes. To be fair, I get most of my news from the Chile Today podcast, which is why, as you have been giving me news information, I have had many questions because I don't always know the news before I hear it from you. So,
oh my goodness.
I have heard a few things, mostly from scrolling on Instagram, but not a lot. So please, do tell.
So, on October 8th, which is a Friday, the National Prosecutor's Office announced that it was initiating a criminal investigation of President Sebastián Piñera. The announcement follows the recommendation of the Anti-Corruption Unit of the National Prosecutor, the UNAC, which declared that in 2017 investigation by the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court had not been privy to the details of the contract signed at the time. So, basically what this is talking about is there was a sale of a mine that took place 9 months into Piñera's first presidential term in 2010.
What? Okay.
And his lawyers and financial advisors had said he wasn't aware of it at the time, a point since reiterated on several occasions by his associates. It is possible that the president did not know about the sale because the mine had been, by that point, his children's asset. But the Pandora Papers revealed that the third installment payments for the purchases came with the condition that the project does not become an environmental protection zone. This sounds really complicated.
I mean, okay, also, to be fair, I feel like rich people in general, and I think we can safely say Piñera is a rich person.
He's a billionaire.
Quite rich.
He's got a couple
They
bucks.
have no idea what their...
Yeah,
like what their financial advisors, lawyers, they don't even know. They just have people who take care of their financial dealings. And so honestly, he probably had no clue. Does that make it okay? No.
I have no idea.
But he's probably clueless.
I have no idea. I really couldn't tell you either way. But you would think just... I don't know, like have some oversight of the billions, because every time you have money and it does something, it has when you have that much money, it has an effect on the country that you're living in, the investment that you're making. Like, you should at least try to be responsible, especially if you're the president of a country.
Agreed. But I feel like most billionaires, they're like, you take care of it, financial advisor person.
I don't know. I don't know a lot of billionaires.
Also, fair. I do not either. I guess all of this is just what I have in my mind. This is what I imagine billionaires do.
All I know is that Piñera is a billionaire, and if he gave one of those billions to Chile, he could solve all of Chile's problems and be the best president that ever presidented in Chile. But he won't, and he wouldn't even miss that billion. Like, so that's all I know.
He needs
That's
to
what I'm
talk
trying
to his
say.
financial advisors about this situation.
I think at that point, which this, if you've watched Squid Game, this is one of the things that they say in Squid Game. It's not really a spoiler. It says, like, when you have so much money, like, it's there's a point where in the show it says when you have so much money there is no joy out of life, because it doesn't matter, you can do absolutely anything in your entire life.
Everything is within your grasp.
Everything is within your grasp, and so there's nothing exciting anymore. Except for, like, watching people murder each other on a game called the Squid Game, apparently.
Ew.
So, yeah. Not that Pinata does that. I'm just saying, like, being a billionaire... Pinguino shrugged. Being a billionaire is not something I know.
Yeah, it's not my reality, that's for sure.
No. Basically, long story short... Pinata had some illegal dealings that were informed and revealed in the Pandora Papers, that even if he didn't know about them, he is responsible for them. So, and on Monday, Sebastian Sichel, which we just talked about recently, the presidential candidate, called for the president to, quote, give all the necessary explanations regarding the revelations by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists in the Panama Papers. And he emphasized that it should not be permissible for a head of state to have interests outside of the public policy. Sichel's just burying himself. Like, Pineda was, like, one of the last people standing behind him. I don't know what's going on, Sichel. I don't know what you're doing.
He's grasping at straws at this point.
Grasping at straws. That little fish tattoo is not going to help you now, Sichel.
Nope.
Okay, and the last one's super short, but this is a Spanish company, Avertis, agrees to again invest in Chilean infrastructure. So this is something I think is interesting because all of the highways in Chile are owned by Spain. And
interesting.
So we're continuing in that vein. That's why you have to pay so much money on when you
tolls.
On the tolls, is because we're paying for those.
They are not public roads.
We are paying for those tolls back to Spain. So we're getting another one. So Autopista Central, a high capacity road belonging to the holding company Via Chile, a subsidiary of Abertis in the region of South America, signed an agreement with the government of Chile for the construction of 2 one-way tunnels, 1.5 kilometers each, that will connect territories within the metropolitan area of Santiago. So the total amount of the project will exceed 300 million euros, or 347 million USD.
Oh my God.
Yep.
For 1.5, how long?
1.5 kilometers.
1.5 kilometer one-way tunnels is 300 how many? What?
$347 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Spain we're not even doing it ourselves. We're paying Spain to come in and do it for us.
Okay.
So the work is expected to start in 2022 and last for 40 months. 40 months, you guys.
For almost 4 years, 3 years, why months? Why are we doing this in months?
I don't know. The Spanish company has released a statement last Sunday.
So between 3 and 4 years.
Are we going to get a shoulder on this highway at least, so when people like have a wreck, they can pull over onto the shoulder of the road instead of just like, because if you don't live in Chile, you're not on those highways.
If it's a tunnel, probably no.
There are no shoulders. There's no places to pull over if you get in a wreck. So if you get in a wreck, the entire highway shuts down, basically. Because there's nowhere to pull over, like, to get your car out of the road. Mm-hmm. It has to, like, somehow be pushed down towards a ditch or something.
There's no ditches. Well, at least not in Santiago.
I don't even know how it happens. I don't know. They might have, like, a lever they pull and it falls to the ground.
It must be towed away.
It's really horrible. So if we're spending all this money and giving it to Spain, again, why can't we do this ourselves? Does Chile not have the ability to pour some concrete?
Pinera won't pay for it.
I mean, we're paying 300. Well, no, Chile.
Like I'm saying, he's got billions.
You can pay for this Pinera, and everybody be like, Pinera was so awesome. He paid for
amazing.
those 40 months.
He paid for that
1.5 kilometer tunnel. We love that guy.
Yeah. Wait, do we know what part of the metropolitan region that he's building these tunnels?
It does not say.
It's not
in
him.
this
It's the company.
Pineda is out there with his shovel and his hard hat.
Right now.
Right now.
No.
I mean, if he can pose in front of a statue of Baquedano, he can get out there in a hard hat.
I'm pretty sure I've seen pictures of him in a hard hat, but I don't
Like
know.
cutting the
when
red
or
tape for the
why.
metro. Like, I did this.
Oh, that's probably
It
where.
definitely wasn't the people before me that invested in this. I did this.
Yeah.
Because it just happened to come out while I was president.
We don't know where in the metropolitan region.
It doesn't say in this article.
Somewhere.
Autopista Central.
Okay.
So I'm assuming in the center.
Okay. I
Or
don't really
it's
know which one
centrally
that is. I
located
don't have a
in-
car, so I don't know which one that is.
Me neither. But anyway, that's your news. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
Mary did.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about the very popular theme that if you live in Chile, you'll hear all the time, which is Santiago no es Chile, which is what a lot of people say all the time, meaning like that Santiago, the capital that we live in, Mary, does not represent everybody in Chile because it is very much a different flavor than the rest of the country.
Yep.
And a lot of people in other parts of the country feel very unrepresented by the ideas that people put forth in Santiago that are not necessarily the concerns of people in other parts of the country.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about 7 different ways that Santiago no es Chile, and we can talk about how different areas are different than Santiago. So do you want to start us out with your first one?
Sure. So when I was thinking about this idea in general, I was thinking about when I had been outside of Santiago, because I have been here for a very long time, but I honestly have not traveled a lot outside of the capital city.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And so just thinking about, and honestly with the pandemic, it's been a long time since I've been outside of the capital city, but thinking back to the times when I left the city, what do I remember was different? And one of the things that was difficult for me personally was in Santiago, in the capital, there's a beep.
Oh, yeah.
If you're traveling on the bus or on the metro, you have a little plastic card. Not entirely sure how the technology works, but you go to
It's a barcode, Mary.
There's no barcode on the
There
beep.
is a barcode. It's totally a barcode.
Okay, if you say so. I do not. Okay.
It's barcode.
I'm
technology,
definitely,
my
after
friend.
this, going to be looking at my beep card to look for the barcode because I do not remember seeing a barcode.
Well, it's
but,
barcode. Okay, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, anyways. So you have the plastic card, which is about the size of an ID. And when you go to enter the turnstiles at the metro or the subway or however you want to call it, in Chile it's a metro.
Or a bus.
Or the bus, you take this little plastic card and you wave it in front of a sensor and it goes beep, which is why it's called a beep card. And it is the amount of money that you have pre-charged or prepaid onto your card is automatically discounted from your card.
Right. Super
So,
easy.
Yeah, you go to like a little booth, you put some money on your card, say like, okay, I'm going to put
You
5,000.
can even do it on the internet now.
Yeah, you can do it online now. And so then everywhere you go, you just take out this little card to pay for your bus, for your metro ride. And there's even like a deal between the metro and the buses. So you can take like 2 bus rides and a metro within like a 2-hour lapse and you don't get charged more than once for the ride. If you leave Santiago, that does not exist.
No. If you're even lucky enough to find, I know that Valparaiso has like sort of a metro. Sort of.
It does have a metro.
I say sort of because I have never used it because every time I've been
have.
there. You have.
I have used their metro, but there's no there's no deal between the buses and the metro. So if you take a bus and then you take the metro, you're going to have to pay twice.
Right. And their buses are very much like school bus situations. Like they're not like I mean, not that the buses in Santiago are super luxurious, but they don't seem like city buses. They're very much like...
It's a very different style. From what I understand, the buses in the regions of Chile or the provinces of Chile are what the buses in the capital city used to be like. But I was not here when that existed. I definitely came in Santiago, in the capital. When you talk to people from the capital or from Chile, they will talk about when Gran Santiago began. And Santiago is basically the metro bus system as it exists today.
Right.
And they talk about the before times, and they reminisce.
With the yellow buses. People always talk about.
Yeah, I was not here for that, so I don't remember any of that.
No, me
I think that was like 2007, I want to say. I don't remember. But
and now we're getting electric buses in Santiago.
Real nice.
Yeah, and we're really like, again, Santiago no Chile, because again, the regions, the rest of the country is still having those little...
They've got buses
really
from like the 80s,
90s. Chonky buses
yeah.
that are like...
old school.
Really...
They got little curtains on the windows.
Yes, and there's like the carpeted seats with the cushions that have like years and years of mysterious stains on them.
Yep.
And everything's coins and cash.
Yep,
like cash only for those things. And like it's not well.
And they give you a ticket every time.
Like you get a ticket. Like you get a legit
like a bus ticket.
Like a bus ticket. And
I'm impressed. Every time I get on the bus, those bus drivers are driving while taking your money, giving you change, giving you a ticket. I'm like, this is impressive.
And there's not a lot of like I would say not a lot, maybe zero clarity on where you're going, where the bus is going to stop, when the bus...
Because the price also changes.
Where's the bus stop? Yeah.
It's like you have to get on... Okay, also, not from that region, not from that province. And so if I'm in a place that I'm new, I'm not from there, when I stop a bus, I have to ask, like, excuse me, do you go to this place? And they will say, yes, I do. How much? And I have to get on the bus and pay them however much they tell me. They could be lying for all I know. I really don't know. And so I pay them how much they tell me to pay. They give me the ticket. And then when I see people get on, people will say, like, I'm going this far, and they pay this much. And it's not the same for every person. Depending on how far they're going, they pay a different amount.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, cool. Honor code. I'm cool with that. But also, kind of know the culture, probably not. But...
It's super old school.
Yes.
As far as public transportation, definitely. You can't just say, because it's super easy to get from Santiago to the regions, right? They have really good transportation from Santiago in buses to basically anywhere you want to go in Chile, which is also great. But then you get dropped off in Limache and you're basically on your own. I mean, you and I together went to Maitencillo, and we were told that our
Airbnb is
close.
Going
to be close to where they drop people off
to the terminal. It was not.
It was not. And again, also sort of tailing on the public transportation things. Don't think, okay, there's no public transportation. I can get an Uber. I can get a Lyft. I can get a... Not necessarily.
I mean, I didn't even think that far, honestly. I was just like, Trans Santiago. There must be something.
Well, Cabify does not work outside of Santiago.
Okay.
Or at least it didn't before the pandemic. Who knows? Maybe they've done that now. Uber works in some cities. Uber works in Viña and Valparaiso. But it does not work in like Maitencillo. It does not work in like Limache. Or if it does work, like you also have to...
It's like one driver.
Right, because you also have to understand it's such a small city that how many people are working as Uber drivers, how many people have cars.
Also.
Right? So you be aware when you're going to other regions to have an idea of how you're getting to where you need to be. Funnily enough, Marion, my story of when we went to Maitencillo is there was a little, what was it, like a little golf cart?
Not a golf cart exactly. It was more, well...
It was kind of a golf cart. A little bit more up from a golf cart.
A little bigger
than a golf cart. Was taking people from the bus station to a parasailing... to a parasailing spot on the beach. And it just so happened that our Airbnb was near the parasailing place. And so the parasailing guys were like, well, you can just get on our parasailing golf cart.
So we just hopped on.
Took it for like 5 kilometers down the road. Yep. And that was how we got to our spot.
And by the way, 5 kilometers is close to the terminal.
Apparently, according to Airbnb. Yeah. They were like, oh, super... No, she said within walking distance of the terminal.
Who walks 5 kilometers?
I can tell you I don't.
I used to maybe in the past before the pandemic.
You did not walk 5 kilometers in the No.
That's not true. I did not.
No, there's no
you're
way.
Right. You're right.
There's no way.
Definitely not. No.
Okay, so my one is so unreliable or non-existing Wi-Fi in the regions in other parts of Chile. So, for example, my boyfriend's family has a house in Limache.
Okay.
They laid Wi-Fi wires this year. There wasn't even a way to get Wi-Fi out there before this year. And the only reason I think why they laid them this year was because of the pandemic. And there were so many people coming from Santiago. It was then worth it enough for them to invest in putting Wi-Fi
demand
out there. Yeah, but first of all, when you're driving anywhere, your just SIM card's not going to work half the time when you're driving to a different region. There's just no signal because you're driving through the mountains, so you've got no signal. So good luck with your Waze or whatever you're using to get there.
Look it up old school online. How, and maybe take a note.
I mean, Waze typically does pretty good, but you can never tell. And sometimes Waze will take you off road if you are not careful. I have been off. Like one time, Mao and I were on our way to, I don't remember, Vaidelki. I don't remember where we were going, but Waze took us, and we even have like the setting that was like, don't take us off any main highways. We like climbed up half of a mountain, and then like the road just disappeared. We were just like in this rent car on the side of a mountain, and we were both freaking out. We were like, what do we do? What do we do on this mountain? And we ended up getting back down onto the main road. But it was so, because we were just like driving and the road just started to slowly disappear.
It's so nice out here. It's so pretty.
And then the road just started to slowly disappear. And we were like up a mountain. And it was so scary. So also remember that you live, especially as us gringos, we live in Santiago and it's very metropolitan.
Very, yes.
Extremely metropolitan. But
confession, quick moment. I am from the middle of nowhere in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get internet in my house until I was like 18. When was that? I don't know. Years.
2007?
7, 8, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which in the U.S. was late.
Right.
Very late. To this day, the house that my dad lives in, still not on Google Maps. And so to me, to hear like in Limache that they just recently laid down internet lines, I'm just like, okay, wow, all right.
And Limache is not like, it's a small town, but it's not like,
it's not small.
It's not like middle. Like people go there.
Yeah.
Like it's close to Omue. Like it's in the Valparaiso region. So imagine like a really small town in Chile. Don't assume your Airbnb is gonna have Wi-Fi. You know, if you decide like I'm gonna go to Chile to see the sights or whatever, don't assume you're gonna get Wi-Fi. Ask. Don't honestly with Airbnb. Pro tip: don't assume anything. Don't assume there's gonna be sheets. Don't assume there's gonna be kitchen utensils. Mm-mm. You know, the things that are like standard in maybe anywhere else you've been will not necessarily exist at all. You'll probably walk into an
small
Airbnb.
Print.
Yeah, and ask: are there sheets?
Mm-hmm.
Is there Wi-Fi?
Yep.
You know, if it says on there, then that's fine. You know, are there? This is a big one for my boyfriend. Are there cats? Because my boyfriend is highly, highly, highly allergic to cats. And there was a time when we were trying to, and he can't be anywhere that there have been cats. Mm-hmm. And so
the dander lingers.
Yeah. And so we have, or like when you're trying to rent a room in a house, mm-hmm. and they don't put that on there. And so one time we rented a room in a house and we thought like the day before we went, like, we're just going to ask just in case. And they're like, oh yeah, we got 6 cats.
Oh my goodness.
And that would have been like death for my boyfriend. So we had
hospital immediately.
I know. And so it's like, okay, so ask all the questions. If you have allergies, if you have a car and you need a parking spot, mm-hmm. make sure you ask all those questions and don't assume there's going to be like what you would consider a staple, like what you would consider something that should be there, maybe quote unquote, mm-hmm. Might not be in the other parts of the country. So that's definitely like Santiago, not Chile.
Yeah, definitely not.
Nope. Mm-mm. What's your next one?
So my other one was grocery store related.
Oh, girl, yeah.
So in the U.S., we have very large grocery stores that have everything could possibly imagine.
I just got back from the States. Apparently, I was fishing. And I took a picture of a bok choy that was the size of my head.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I just kept sending pictures of fruits and vegetables the size of my cranium to my boyfriend. And I was like, this eggplant, no pun intended, is literally the size of my arm.
Yep.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah. And so that's the thing, right? Is I feel like from the U.S., even small town USA, you still have large grocery stores. In the capital city in Santiago, you're going to find a large grocery store fairly close to where you live.
You can at least take a cab.
Yeah, definitely. But if you go to a region or you go to a province, maybe there will be one large grocery store in the general area. It might not be within walking distance. It might not be within a bus ride. But you will always find like
Mini
a kind of
markets.
mini market, like a mom and pop store, somewhere within like a 5 to 15-minute walk.
Which I kind of love.
I do too.
So as two things, as somebody who really likes to cook and likes to cook a lot of things, it's kind of inconvenient because there are ingredients you just can't find.
It's limited.
It's a very limited. So that's the thing. In Chile, you can find so many different types of ingredients at your, your Jumbo or your Liter. You can find those things. And you have much more of a diverse selection.
Yeah.
But I love the freshness of the mom and pop stores.
Fresh
of the
bread.
Fresh bread, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables that they picked from their garden. You know where your money's going. And
They also have really good tips.
yeah, no, if you want to know how to get around or how to do anything, you talk to those people who own
Yep.
those mini markets.
Or
and
even just like,
they-
hey, I'm staying for the weekend. I'm staying for the week. I'm visiting. Where should I go out to eat? Like, what do you
Yeah.
recommend? They have all the good info. All of it.
I lived in Quinto Normal in my first couple years here.
That's one of the neighborhoods in Santiago.
Yeah, that's one of the neighborhoods in Santiago, but it's one of the less industrial. It's not, you don't have a...
It's more historic.
It's more historic. It's more residential
Yeah.
in the ways that it's like more. It's older. You're not gonna have a Liter every block.
No.
It's not like Providencia Center, things like that. So all I had was, unless I
mom and
wanted
pop.
to go 30 minutes, I had the mini market on my corner, and so everything in my daily life came from there. Whether it was the little bitty bottle of dishwashing liquid,
Yeah.
or like whatever vegetables they had were the vegetables I was going to use to cook with.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that type of life, and it's kind of
It's nice.
It's really nice. Like I said, as somebody who really likes to cook diverse things, it's nowadays I'm like, oh, I would miss it, but
I do not like cooking
it's kind of cool
at all.
you know?
Not even a little bit. I also really do not like lines. And I don't like a lot
you're
of
never
people.
gonna have a line at the mini market.
No, yeah, you go to at most maybe a few people who are also in there who just happen to get there before you did. But it's basically just like walk in, and you don't honestly.
And everybody knows your name.
Yeah, you also don't even have to like look around if you really don't like. If you're real lazy, you can just be like, "Hey, hi, I need this, this, and this," and they will just bring it to you. You don't even have to look to see if they have it where it is.
They have so many random things. I remember the mini market, like my light bulb went out and I just walked because it was like on the corner and I was just like, "You have light bulbs?" And they were
Yep.
like, "Let me go dig into the like."
They have everything.
It was like attached to their house and they were like, "I think we have a light bulb here." Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be.
I mean, if it's like
200
a
pesos.
basic necessity, they've got it.
Yeah, candles, things like that.
Yeah.
And really, like, it makes me think, you just don't. We get so caught up in we need this, we
Yeah.
need that. This is something we need. No,
It's
you
not
don't.
really a necessity.
You don't really need it, and you don't.
No.
And honestly, I didn't miss it. I went from going to living in the U.S. with the bok choy the size of my head
Yep.
to living in Quinto Normal, and you don't miss it.
Nope. Not
Really,
even a
like,
little bit.
I mean,
It's nice.
it's
Simplified
nice.
living is nice.
Yeah. So anyway, anywho, so that is much more common. You're right. The grocery stores are cropping up a little bit more.
Yep.
Especially as people start moving from Santiago to other parts of Chile because of the pandemic. I've seen
yeah.
there's a new grocery store in Limache. I saw it crop up. But again, if you don't have a car, how do you get to it?
Yep.
So. Another interesting difference between Santiago and the other parts of Chile is housing prices.
Okay.
So it is significantly cheaper to live anywhere else in Chile than it is to live in Santiago.
Ooh, do tell. Okay, because I don't know much about this, and if it's really that big of a difference, maybe I will also consider leaving the capital
Don't leave me,
city.
how dare you.
No, I won't. But do tell.
No, well, so I don't have the prices on hand. Like, I'm not going to be able to like guide you cost by cost together, and I ain't getting paid for that. I ain't getting paid at all. But you know what I'm saying. But just as an example, I went to visit my friend right before the pandemic. His name's Hans, and he lived in a 2-bedroom ocean view apartment in Viña, in Concon, like on the border between Viña and Concon.
Concon is a nice neighborhood,
and it was like the nicest neighborhood in Concon. 2 bedrooms, the American kitchen kind of
It's
style.
like Malibu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super nice, like a new neighborhood, like ocean view. He paid 250,000 pesos for that apartment.
You can't even get okay, I can tell you, I recently lived in a 1-bedroom downtown that had no hot water, no kitchen, for 200,000 pesos.
You can't even get one room, like a room right now in Santiago, like renting a room almost for anything less than 200.
Oh my goodness.
Like, it is insane. When I first came here, over 7 years ago, I paid 180 for a room, like a itty bitty room.
Oh man.
Which is insane. It shouldn't be that much. But that he was paying 250,000 for an 2-bedroom, brand new. It had never been lived in before. Oceanfront view apartment, terrace or balcony, everything in Concon.
You sure I can't convince you to move with me to the beach?
For real. I mean, I don't know what the prices are like now. Like I said, pandemic and everything, but with maybe, prices have been going up in a lot of other places because of that. But that was only right before the pandemic, right? The prices in Santiago are absolutely intolerably insane.
They're so expensive.
And you go, I've had, for example, I have friends who during the pandemic moved from Santiago to Concepcion, to La Serena, to like all these other places. They went from living in like a little bitty apartment to now they have a house.
Whoa.
They can afford a house in another part of the country. And that's because there were no jobs.
Yep.
And unless you're working in agriculture or wine or something like that, or mining, there were no jobs. In
Chile
other
is
parts
over-centralized.
Yeah, and it was
politically, economically.
It has been a huge
it's changing
problem
now because of the pandemic.
The pandemic has helped to change, and a lot of people are like, "Well, if I'm going to work virtually for the rest of this, for the rest of my career here in at least this job, why am I paying 5 times the rent when I could
for this box?
For this box." When I could buy a house in,
this lovely
place, like, it's worth it for them to say, like, I don't need that big grocery store because there are those sacrifices, right? There's that public transportation, but like, look,
friends and family,
also. Well, a lot of people are from those regions and they come to Santiago to get a job. So they're just going home, to be with their friends and family.
Good for them.
Yeah, I think it's great, but I mean. Again, that's not necessarily feasible for everybody, especially people who don't have like an executive job or like can work with their Wi-Fi and things like that. And but I mean, again, that's why they're laying lines in Limache, because more people are coming. They're building houses, they're investing in it. So Chile is definitely going to change.
I hope so.
So it's gonna be really interesting to see, and it already is changing.
Yep,
so it's gonna be interesting.
Agreed.
What's your next one?
That was my last one.
Oh, I don't know how to count. So, okay, so how many are we on then? So
We're
you did
at 4.
3. I did 4.
I did 2.
You did 2. You only had 2?
I only had 2.
Oh my gosh. Okay, fine. I
haven't been outside of Santiago, really.
I have more, don't worry. So cows and horses?
Cows and horses.
Cows, horses, livestock in general is a thing that exists all over Chile, and you have to be careful because sometimes they'll just be chilling out in the roads.
Oh, okay.
So when you see a sign that says cow...
Crossing.
Well, it just has a picture of a cow on it. Be careful, because if you're driving fast on one of those roads...
You might hit a cow.
Ooh. And people get very hurt that way.
Frowned upon.
Yeah. You also will see people with their horses walking.
Oh, I have seen that.
Plop.
I have seen people on horses.
On horseback, just walking down the road, doing their thing. In their traditional Waso outfits, because that's not traditional Waso, that's just what they wear.
Yep.
And
that's just their clothes.
That's just their clothes. I mean, Chile is...
Cowboys. They're like cowboys, but Chilean cowboys. Yeah.
I think we forget living in Santiago that Chile is an incredibly huge agricultural country.
Yep. And
We
very
have some
rural.
Very rural. We have some of the largest fruit exports in the world.
Yep.
We're I think we're 9th in the world or 6th in the world. I can't remember because of the reverse 9-6 of wine exporters. So much of Chile is just agriculture.
Yep.
We look at these gray walls and like this smog and all this that we have here in Santiago, and we don't realize how gorgeous and green Chile is, unless it's on fire, which is a whole different thing.
Well, I mean, to be fair, most people who come to Chile come for ecotourism.
Yeah.
And they stop in Santiago, and then they leave.
Mm-hmm.
They come in through the airport, and then they leave because
Yeah.
they're going somewhere else. They're going north, they're going south, they're going to the beach, they're going skiing. They're not staying here.
Yeah, they're not like us who landed in Santiago, immediately got a job.
And then we're like, I guess I'll live here now.
Yeah, I mean, because when I moved here, I didn't come here. I know you came here for school, but I didn't come here for school. I had to immediately get a job.
Yeah.
And so I immediately got a job, started working. I didn't have that kind of, sometimes exchange students or backpackers, so like they have money set aside to where they can travel.
I did not. That was
Well,
not
I
a part
mean,
of my
no.
experience, but most do.
But
That's
a lot
fair.
of people do, or they're coming through Chile to see the sights. You know,
Yeah.
I came to Chile to learn Spanish. So
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, how do I get a job? I didn't have money. So, and then when I got money or I get money, typically I go to the US to see my family, or I go to Argentina, or I went to I've been to Peru. I unfortunately, and this is bad on my part, I haven't been inside Chile as much as I want to. And I go within a few hours of Santiago a lot. Like I go to, 4 hours here, 3 hours there, 2 hours here, a lot.
Day
but
trips.
I haven't been, or like weekend trips. But I haven't been to the extremes yet.
Yeah.
And I really want to do that at some point.
Me neither. I mean, again, most of my income in the past has gone towards flying home to see family.
Yeah.
But I think maybe post-pandemic, now that we're coming out, I'll have a little bit more income and I can start to explore Chile 12 years later. I can start to explore a little bit more of Chile.
Yeah, yeah. And then I also want to talk about, so we talked a little bit about this with public transportation, but prepare yourself for cash only.
Oh, yes.
In a lot of places.
Yep.
Like, and when I mean cash only, I mean you're not going to find an ATM. And if you find an ATM, it's going to be one of those really weird, like, Banco Estado type of ATMs that you can only use if you have Banco Estado.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
no
if you're
international cards.
Right. If you're traveling to, I mean, if you're going to, like, Viña or Valparaiso or something like that,
you should be
you're
okay.
probably fine. But if you're planning on going to, like, Limache, Onwe, like, somewhere, like, I don't know where you're going. But, like, some
Take
smaller...
cash in advance.
Just have cash on you, because nowhere is going to take cash. Also, you're going to want to pick up some of those fresh fruits and vegetables from those vegetable stands out on the side of the road.
Yep.
That have
And they are not going to have a machine to take your debit card or credit card.
They are not. I mean, I have seen them, like, maybe once, but it's, like, was more of a, like, like, you could tell it was more of a, like, a fancy one, but just, make sure you have cash on you.
Yeah.
Especially if you're planning on traveling in a car. There are toll booths. We talked about this earlier. They're not cheap. They're like 2,500 pesos per toll.
Oh, man.
And so you got to pass 3 of those things, I'm pretty sure, just to get to Viña.
Whoa.
And that's going all the way to the Spanish government.
Yep, there you go.
Paying for our roads.
Wait, is it the Spanish government or a Spanish company? I misunderstood.
I mean, I think it's a Spanish company.
Oh, okay. My
I
mistake.
just meant like we're paying a Spanish company rather than a Chilean company
Gotcha.
to do something.
Okay.
But I mean, it's not going.
It's not Chilean.
It's not internalized.
Yeah.
Is what I'm
Although
trying to say.
I also have to say,
Not
as
going
far
to
as the
Chilean
whole
sis.
like cash thing goes, Santiago even used to be like that when I first got here.
Oh yeah.
It's gotten so much better, especially with the pandemic, because there was this whole don't use cash, use cards because of,
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to a
bacteria and
market,
such.
you're still going to need cash in Santiago. Like
Yeah.
if you're going to La Vega, like, but you're
Or
still,
the mom and pops. A lot of the mom and pops will have cash,
I
although
don't
it's
know.
gotten a lot better.
I haven't even the mom and pop I used to live in at Quinta Normal took card.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, especially because Banco Estado came out with this,
Well, yes.
like, this little machine specifically
The Banco
for...
Estado, yes. I remember when I was living in La Cisterna, they also would accept Banco Estado cards.
Yeah.
But no other cards. Like, it had to be that one.
Right. So, in general, if you're coming here for the first time, it's always good to just have, like, 5,000 pesos cash in your pocket. I'm preaching to, like, myself, because since the pandemic, I have not had cash at
I never had
all.
cash.
I used to have cash all the time, just in case for a cab or emergencies, or I need to charge my BIP, like, because I don't know still to honestly, because I haven't taken the metro as often as I should since the pandemic. Now things are opening up. I'll figure it out now.
Yeah.
But it's like you could only for a while charge your BIP with cash.
Yep. No, they take cards now, but at machines.
Yeah, but
there's like self-charging
machines. Is it at all of the
now.
metros, or is it only the new ones? Because I know the new lines.
I know at least the station that I live nearby has like a little machine, and so instead of going to the person and charging
Near
your
Colón?
card, instead of going to the booth with the person and giving them cash, because with the person, as far as I understand, you still have to have cash. But at the little machine where you can do it by yourself, it's like the self-checkout of the metro.
I don't know if all of the stations have those. Pinguino, yes. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so Pinguino said everyone's have at least machines now, which this is new. This is newish because this was not before the pandemic. Not all of the stations had the machines.
Yeah.
Because I took the metro all the time. Now we're in phase 4 now here in Santiago. Some people are in phase 5. It's like a whole
There's a phase 5 now.
It's a whole new world. We had events at the top of the show.
Yeah.
Like, things are opening up. I'm going to be using the metro more. I just
took the bus.
Oh my gosh. And you probably felt pretty safe doing it, too.
I did.
I mean,
completely.
that's another thing. Like, not only
it was so weird
you
coming here. I was thinking, like, I could take a cab, or I could just take the bus. I'll just take the bus.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not only is it like, can you? Because we could, in the other phases take those, but it's like, I feel safe doing this.
Yeah.
I feel safe doing this because so many people are vaccinated, and also we're still wearing masks because it's still important. We're still in a pandemic, guys. Yep. So still be safe, wash your hands, all that jazz, and keep cash on you. Okay, so my last one is that stereotypically, this is stereotype, people in Chile are more unfriendly than people in the other parts of Chile.
People in the capital.
Right, people in the capital. And
like
I feel
typical country situation.
Right. I mean, something that, because I was talking to my boyfriend about it, like, what's the biggest difference? Because he grew up in Viña, between Viña and Chile, and Santiago.
Santiago, no, Chile!
In Santiago, and he was like, everybody's so grumpy because everything's going so fast in Santiago. Like, you have to get there, you have to get here, you have to cram on the metro, you're doing this, everything's great.
Go, go, go.
Go, 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 yeah. And everybody's more friendly. Like, I remember one time, I was on the elevator with my suegra, my mother-in-law, and she, like, tried to talk to somebody on the elevator with us in Santiago. No. And, like, you just don't do that in Santiago. You don't talk to other people on the elevator.
How dare you?
And because she grew up, she grew up in Bolivia, but she has been living in Viña for, like, 30 years.
Yeah.
And so she did not understand.
She's just being polite.
Yeah, and she was like, stupid Santiaguinos. And it was just like, I'm also kind of a Santiaguina now because I don't want to talk to anybody on the elevator either.
But to be fair, I just don't want to talk to people.
But I mean, maybe if I grew up or I was living, I don't know, in Concepcion and another,
my dad's from small town USA.
You'd just be
speak
like,
a word of
hey,
Spanish.
wow, what's going on?
And when he comes here, when he walks down the road, he says, hola, hola, to everyone he sees in the street.
So
I'm like,
cute.
Dad, no, stop.
Oh, it's so cute.
Just stop.
But it is more like conversational, like when you're checking out at the grocery store, or again, because you have this like mini market, small town feel, you know each other. Or if there's somebody new, you're like, oh, are you vacationing here?
Yeah.
What's going on? People are much more
laid back.
I mean, they're not in a rush. Like I said, we have metropolitan city here.
It's like New York, right? When you think of New York, you think of just rude people. Sanhattan, yes.
As they say.
People are just rude.
I mean, it is
not on purpose. It's just.
I mean, they're
busy.
People are busy, frustrated. You'll probably get
stressed,
pushed more. There's a lot less. I mean, it's that big city thing. And then when you go out of Santiago, it truly is literally and figuratively a breath of fresh air because there's no smog, and
no
people
pollution.
are so much more laid back. They're so much more friendly, and it is a stereotype, like I said, of Santiaguinos. But I think living in this
if
tight,
the shoe fits.
I mean, I think living in this tight concrete, on top of each other, crammed in metro situation. I have to get here, I have to stand this line, I have to do this. Like, it creates a toxic literally toxic atmosphere.
Yep.
So people tend to be more friendly in the other regions. And
Life is just better.
Yeah, I mean, I would be...
You sure you don't want to move to the beach with me?
I mean... And also, as the last tag to what we're talking about, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the needs of people of the other regions are different than the needs of Santiago. We were talking earlier about the Araucanía region that has all of the conflict with the indigenous people. Their needs in that region and what those people and the indigenous people and the people that are not indigenous that live in those areas are so much different, and their lives are so much different than what our lives are here in Santiago.
Totally.
You know, we're not fighting for our land here. Or when you live in a region that has mines, or when you live in a region that's right next to a factory where your water is being polluted.
Yep.
What they're voting for, what they're concerned with, maybe in this election, is so much different than what us Santiaguinos are thinking about.
Yep.
So that's not something that I can just say, this is one thing, right? This is a complex conglomeration of every single region.
Absolutely.
Has their own needs that get ignored a lot of times because the majority of the voters are in Santiago and they're not thinking about those people in Punta Arenas.
Nope.
Or those people in Chiloé. Or those Rapa Nui people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's really important to bring some of those things to the forefront of our minds when we are being responsible citizens and voting. So,
yes. Agreed.
yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, everybody get out there and vote in November if you can. If you don't know if you can vote, we're going to give you some information in upcoming episodes to check if you can vote. Mary can vote.
I can.
Yeah,
and I will.
And she will. Because she knows if she doesn't, I'll strangle her.
I will die.
Pinguino also can vote. So, yeah. So, but before we go, I'm just going to remind you about the 3 events that we have coming up. So, the first event, the most close event to us, is going to be the Chistolas are having a Halloween party / comedy show where you come and you wear a costume. It's going to be a costume contest, and then there's going to be comedians doing English and Spanish stand-up, so you can practice your Spanish or practice your English, whatever you want to do. Bring a date, have fun. It's going to be really laid back. It's at the Black Rock Pub on October 30th. It starts at 8 p.m., so it starts a little early, but it's going to be going all the way till close. So then the next event is the Horrible Movie Night, where we watch a absolutely horrible movie. This is going to be Sharknado, and that's going to be on October 11th at the Black Rock Pub. Not October 11th, November 11th.
Yes.
Sorry, November 11th. October 11th was in the past. We're going back in time. No, November 11th. We're watching Sharknado. That's a free event, just like the Chistola show is also a free event. And so you can come, watch, drink some beer. Don't drink some beer if you don't drink. Eat some food. It's going to be a great time. Meet new people. Then on November 27th. This is not a free event, but the fees are it's not expensive. I don't remember how much it's going to be. Like, you have to pay for a team, but we're not exactly sure how that's going to be because we don't know what the aforo, the team limit's going to be, but we'll update you on that. The trivia night is coming up. You pay for a team. It's probably going to be like 4,000 pesos. So like, we'll keep you updated on that, but
per team or per person?
I don't know the things, but it's probably going to be like 1.5 a person, something like that.
Okay.
So it's not expensive.
You will be informed later.
You'll be informed at a later date. So it's a bilingual trivia night, and basically we have different rounds with different themes, like pop culture is one round, maybe that's in Spanish, and maybe news, that will be in English. And then so you can build your team with people who speak English and Spanish. You can win prizes. That's the reason it costs, is because the cost goes directly to paying for the prizes that people can win, and it takes all the work to do trivia night. But that's really fun, and that's on November 27th. So if you want more information about that, we'll post it on our Instagram. You can also message us at Chile Today Podcast or email us questions at Chile Today Podcast. Chile Today Podcast at gmail.com. And I hope you guys enjoyed the episode.
I did.
Yeah, great. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. So when in doubt,
Gringo out.
bye. guys, the Chile Today podcast is produced by Diego Pinguino Rivera. It is written by Alicia Lubin and Bethany Francis in conjunction with ChileToday.cl. Hope you enjoy.